Hey guys, how to make Atheist Radical here. So, this is a video that I've been trying to make for quite some time, actually to the point that I had this done. And when I listened back to it, it sounded like absolute trash. So, it's time to do it again. This subject is, well, let's just say it's something that shouldn't take much explanation and it really shouldn't be that difficult for anyone to understand. But this comes from an article that I read quite a while ago, and it was about the trouble that faces black cosplayers. And this has nothing to do with even male or female. It's just as a whole. And it's the idea of you get these people, obviously, that go out there and say that, oh, you can't cosplay as this character because your skin color doesn't match the character. That's the bare bones of it. I can go onto like this overwhelming rant on the racist aspect of it, but I think that's pretty straightforward. I think we all can understand that we shouldn't be, treating people like shit because of the color of their skin. I don't think I really need to tell people to not be racist. I think that's, especially in this day and age, I think that's pretty straightforward. I think you guys got it pretty well nailed down. The gist that I want to get into has to do with the comment of you can't dress up as this character because your skin color doesn't match. So, right off the bat, then literally we as white people cannot dress up as any anime character pretty much out there because they're all Japanese. Let's not even go into the idea that, anime characters generally speaking look white and not Japanese, so there's always that. But at the end of the day, if we're saying that we can't, dress up as a certain character because the color doesn't match, well, then us as whites don't exactly have that many to choose from either. So it doesn't really change much. The reality of things is that it's just stupid no matter how you look at it. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to cosplay, it does not matter what skin color you are. It doesn't even matter what gender you are. If you have the correct outfit, if it matches the character in question, then it's fine. I don't understand the idea that anybody would take that so seriously so that they would be like, oh, you can't be Sailor Moon because you're black. You can't be this character because you're like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It is a fictional character. It's Sailor Moon. Like, I'm just using Sailor Moon as the prime example here. It's Sailor fucking Moon. It doesn't really matter what color she is at this point. Fuck it. People could be like, oh, it's Sailor Moon, but it as like an Avatar character. And I'm talking avatars in the blue Avatar. No one would bat a fucking eyelash because they probably think it's cool. So again, it's just like, guys, get a grip. Who cares? It's cosplay. It's not like, the new season of Sailor Moon comes out and they decide, oh, we're going to make the character black now. No, it's just somebody who's black and fucking adores Sailor Moon wants to dress up as fucking Sailor Moon. I don't see the issue in that. And it comes back to that whole idea that, especially in the anime community, which I still don't understand, it's a rant that I need to go through at some point, is this unbelievable gatekeeping that I see out there. It's unbelievable. It's a fucking hobby, guys. You don't need to take it so seriously. You don't need to go around and keeping people from participating in it or participating in certain aspects of it just because of these little mitigating factors that don't mean a fucking thing. It's crazy. It's just cosplay. This isn't anything important. So, it depends too with me. Like with me, if I'm going to be completely honest, there's a difference between me not wanting anybody to dress up as a character because they're black, and there's just certain characters where when they dress up as them and it's a black person doing that costume, it just looks weird. And that's also coming from years and years of seeing that character in a certain skin color. And if you want to go ahead and say that's racist, fucking bite me. But at the end of the day, it's like anything else. You're so used to seeing it under a certain, aspect that when you see it otherwise, it's just like, oh, that's different. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm not saying that if somebody, like, again, I keep bringing up Sailor Moon because it's the easy aspect. If a girl dressed up as Sailor Moon and she's a black woman, like, it's not going to make me be, like, all upset. It's just going to be like, okay, cool. I mean, that's cool for you. I don't have to like it, but I don't hate it. It's not like I'm going to sit here and start, going crazy and yelling at people being like, you can't dress up as that. I just won't note the picture in my brain. The same would go for anything else. Like if somebody was dressing up as Miles Morales, as Spider-Man, but it was a white dude, it would be like, well, that's okay, sure, I guess. If someone was dressing up as Afro Samurai and he's white, same deal. It'd be like, okay, I mean, cool. I mean, I'm glad that you love that show because it is a fucking awesome show. But it's just off-putting because you're used to seeing the character in that light. So, obviously, how much more can I really say on that? Like, just, you're fucking retarded if you're going to go around and get upset that people are dressing up as a character and isn't the same skin color. Like, come on, guys. And I know this is skewing more to blacks because, again, I don't want to go to the racist aspect, but let's be honest. We always seem to have our heads up our ass when it comes to blacks. Like, whites seem to have the most hatred for the stupidest of things when it comes to black people. Obviously we're in a case now where everybody is being racist to everybody. That's a whole nother conversation. But really, it seems like when it comes to white versus black, it always seems to be over the most stupid little detailed things that really doesn't matter. So in the interest of filling time on this video, because it's obviously a little bit shorter than my usual stuff, I wanted to also talk about a little side subject that has to do with cosplay. And obviously this became a topic a while ago as well, where people were kind of saying like, oh, this is what cosplay is supposed to be. This isn't cosplay, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to nail this down in my aspect because my point of view is a little different. Obviously there are people that are a lot more broad when it comes to cosplay. Then there's me where it's a lot more specific. So when it comes to cosplay, I really just have one factor in mind, and that's wear something canonical. I'm not saying it has to be perfect, but I'm saying it has to reference at least something that existed. So, if you're dressing up as Sailor Moon, the easy example, I'm expecting to see the sailor suit. I'm expecting to see the skirt. I'm expecting to see the thigh high or the knee high socks. Like, that kind of shit I expect to see. What I don't want to see is to just see a girl in white lingerie with just that same wig on and just saying, oh, it's boudoir cosplay. Let me get this fucking straight to you folks. Boudoir is not cosplay. Unless that character in the show or game or whatever it's from actually has a scene where that is the exact set of underwear that she wears, that doesn't count as cosplay anymore in my mind. The idea for me of cosplay has some canonical reference. And I'm not counting wigs and I'm not counting, makeup. I'm counting the actual costumes. Because that's what cosplay in a nutshell really is. It's the costume. So when someone wants to say, I'm going to do 2B and I'm going to do it as a swimsuit and it's just her in a black bikini, that's not fucking cosplay. Or a white bikini, I guess, in this case. That's not cosplay. That's just that's just putting on a wig and a blindfold and then putting on whatever the fuck you feel like wearing, and now you're being like, oh, look at me, I'm 2B. No, you're fucking not. 2B at no point never does that. Another example. People being like, oh, here's Diva, but here's her suit in lingerie mode. It's like, again, she doesn't have that. Now, this goes back to the other thing. There are people that... This is a stupid little thing because I'm going off a bit off a tangent just because I mentioned Diva. It just crossed my mind. People used to get really upset that Diva was being cosplayed so much because they're like, oh, it's just a bodysuit. Anybody can do that. Well, here's the catch. That's fucking Diva's costume. That's what it is. It's a bodysuit. Sorry for your loss, but that's exactly what the costume is. And I don't care if you're annoyed that so many people are choosing to do so. I like cosplay like that because it means it's available to anybody. You can just buy the fucking bodysuit, do your hair up, put a little bit of makeup on, and boom, you're done. You don't even necessarily need the prop. Obviously, it's nice if you have the pistol. But you know what I mean? Like, it's easy enough. I like cosplay like that because it makes it more accessible to people who can't afford to spend $300+ on their outfit. And I know some people also be really extreme where they're like, oh, it has to be perfect and it has to look amazing. I get it. Not everybody can spend $500 on an outfit. Not everybody can sew so perfectly well. We have to come back to a point where it's got to be available to anyone and everyone. So I'm okay with there being easier costumes. That's no problem to me. So moving back, obviously, when I was mentioning the not accuracy, I tend to lean this more towards women because I don't really notice this with guys that much because as far as I know, and this is coming from bisexual male, so you know I'm looking for it, it's not as easy to find like sexy male cosplay. It's a lot harder. Because generally speaking, I guess when guys dress up, they want to look more badass than they want to look sexy. I'm not going to get too far into that because I don't want to get into the intricacies because, again, it's sexist the second I start questioning these things. But the thing is, like, I know that cosplay for a lot of female characters specifically, they tend to be sexualized. I mean, obviously, if you're going to dress up as Tharja from Fire Emblem, it's hard not to look sexy because Tharja's got big tits. Go figure. Here's where I take a bit of an issue with it. Now, there are examples like Diva where the costume is accurate, but all the person is doing is they're taking a shot of their ass. That's no longer cosplay. That is you trying to get attention of a sexual nature. That is softcore. Cammy, on the other hand, here's a great example. If Cammy, because Cammy obviously from Street Fighter is literally just in a one piece and her ass is hanging out, obviously boobs too. If it's just a full body picture, that's cosplay. However, if it is now with her back towards the camera and still a full body shot, still cosplay. But if the camera zoomed in specifically on her ass, I don't consider that cosplay anymore because I think what you're doing now is you're going for the softcore edge. You're trying to go on the point of getting people's attention from a sexual perspective. And I think that's where things get a little out of line. Same goes for upskirts. Like anything when you're calling attention to a specific part of your body, you're failing. Cosplay is supposed to be a full body experience. It's supposed to be about everything. If you are posing in a sexual way, it depends on the character. If it's Bayonetta, obviously, she's sexual in every aspect of the word. So that would be acceptable. If it's... Who'd be a great example? Nothing's coming to mind right off the back. But I mean, Bayonetta is a great example. But if you're dressing up as... Let's go to an extreme case. Let's say you're a 20-year-old girl and you're dressing up as Cardcaptor Sakura. And you're trying to make her into a little sexual pose. And you're still dressing up as like what the super young version is. Like that's... You're sexualizing a character that isn't sexualized. So that's where things get tough. Same goes with like someone like Ellie from The Last of Us. I mean, it's different. If you want to go for it, I mean, you can do it. I just don't want to call it cosplay because I don't think that that's what your intent is. I think that if you are looking for eyes of a sexual nature, you are no longer looking at cosplay so much as you are looking at softcore. Unless the character is sexual in nature, then it obviously makes sense. So that's the way that I look at cosplay. If the costume is like remotely canonical, you're good. If you're not sexualizing a character that isn't sexualized in its canon, then cool. I mean, I mean, do whatever you want. Obviously, I have no problem with it. I mean, there's people, obviously, that take shots at these cosplayers because they do a lot of sex scenes, Jesus, as much as I wish. Like, take Jessica Negri, for example. Great example. A lot of her stuff is a lot overly sexualized. But here's the thing. She's making no bones about it. And I have no problem with her getting paid for it. If people, it's a free market, folks. If people want to throw their money for it, you can say whether it's bad, like whether that's so wrong that, you know, guys are just flocking to throw money at these people just to, you know, dress up as their favorite characters, but like half naked. So what? There's a market for it. And I have no problem with people wanting to make their money out of it. Who cares? It makes no difference to me. I only have an issue with if it falls under the cosplay banner. Like I said, boudoir cosplay is not cosplay unless that character has worn that underwear. Obviously, with shows like anime, obviously you can get away with a lot more, like High School of the Dead, Infinite Stratos, like any harem for that matter. You're obviously going to get away with a lot more. Like if it's Rias Gremory from High School DxD in black lingerie, there's a pretty good chance that's canonical. But if it's fucking, I don't know, let's say, like I'm watching Garo Vanishing Line right now. If it's fucking Sophie in fucking boy shorts and in a bra, like come on, guys. No, that's not cosplay. So that's just my thoughts on it. So I'd love to know, like, what do you guys think? Both about how people feel about black cosplayers. I mean, I hope all of you kind of sit there and be like, yeah, I have no problem with black cosplayers. Who gives a shit? I'm more curious, though, to see what you guys think about cosplay as the actual term for it, because I'm not saying that any of these things that people are doing is bad, so much as I just think that it's just inaccurate. So it's the kind of thing that I just want to, take a break on. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.